Hey, what's up? This is Jordan, the Mediocre Millionaire. Today we're going to be talking about a phrase that you've probably heard a million times, just like I have, which is money isn't everything. So growing up, I kind of did feel like money was everything because that was the one thing that we always lacked. It was always money issue. Like, it didn't matter what it was, whether we were wanting to play basketball. It's like, yeah, we want to do this basketball team, but we don't have enough money. So let's try to raise some money to do that. Or we wanted to go on a family vacation. Hey, we'd love to go to Disney World, but we don't have enough money. It was always an issue of not having enough money. So I started to feel like money was everything. So I heard that statement all the time, and it kind of became numb to me because we always had money problems. But I didn't actually feel that statement until a couple years ago when we had my son Landon. After my wife gave birth to him, we took him home a couple of days after, and he was sitting there getting lethargic and wouldn't eat. And then he had like a seizure type episode. From that, he stopped breathing. He turned blue. I had never seen a human being turn blue before, so that was frightening. Called the ambulance. The ambulance came and picked him up, and they took him to the hospital. They were able to revive him, which was a huge blessing. He's doing well today, thankfully. But I was sitting in the hospital, and this was the first time that I actually had more money than I needed. I had more than enough money for whatever the doctors needed to do, but the money did not solve the problem. This was the first time in my life where I had more money than I needed, but the money wouldn't solve the problem. First time I ever dealt with that before. So that's when I actually felt that phrase of money isn't everything. But I want to add something on to that statement, which is money isn't everything, but ... The reason why I want to add that on is because some of you have probably heard someone say, the only people who say money isn't everything are the people who have money, which I think that probably is true. So I say money isn't everything, but because I've lived without money before, and I live with money today. And I can promise you that living with money is far better than living without it. I promise you that. It makes just about every situation, except for the situation with my son, obviously. It makes just about every situation better and or easier. So the stress level, like, sure, there's going to be stresses and there's going to be issues and things that come up, whether you have money or not. But when it comes to things like family vacations, let's talk about a family vacation. I remember going on family vacations when, like, we would save up for months, and then we would save up the exact amount that we needed so we couldn't forget something at home because we couldn't afford to buy it when we get there. You know, like, or we had to make sure that we rationed every single dollar whenever we get to this location because we couldn't go out and have a nice dinner, or we couldn't do this or do that outside of whatever the curriculum said we were going to be doing, whatever the agenda said we were going to be doing, because we only had this much amount of money. Today, if we go on like a family vacation, if the vacation is $5,000, then we'll pay $5,000, and then when we get there, we do what we want to do when we get there. It's hardly any stress at all. If I forget a pair of shoes, then we just go buy some shoes when we get there. If I remember when we were growing up, or whenever my wife and I had just gotten married, I remember thinking and stressing out over not forgetting my belt, because I was like, if I get to Florida and I don't have a belt, I'm not going to be able to, I can't afford to buy a belt when I get there, so I don't want to do that. But now I don't really stress over stuff like that. Like, I don't stress over, oh man, I've got to make sure I get my belt, because if I get to Florida and I realize I didn't bring swimming trunks, or I didn't bring a belt, then I'll just buy swimming trunks, or I'll just buy a belt when I get there. The stress level is significantly reduced. I remember when my wife and I first got married, and it was like when tag season would come around to get our tags for our cars. I remember how stressful that was, because every month I always had just enough to pay for all of the expenses that we typically had. And then during the month of June, because my last name is Harris in Kansas, Harris's go in June. So in June, I would be stressing out like crazy because I knew that there was an additional $200 or $300 expense coming because I had to buy tags for my car. Super stressful. But today, I don't worry about that. Like whenever it's time for tags, I just send the money off in the mail and they send it back to me without even thinking. So when people say money isn't everything, please do add the but ... on there. So money isn't everything, but it's definitely better having it than not having it. That is a fact. So is money everything? No, it's not. But I promise you, life is much better, much easier, and less stressful when you have it and when you don't have it. I've been on both ends of the extreme, and I can promise you it's better when you have it. That's all that I have for you today. Please do like the video, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate your time as always. God bless. Take care. Peace.